Everybody, welcome back to the Rebel Chums channel. Today I wanted to talk about a subject that I noticed recently, and it was kind of expected because, well, I got back into Airsoft for the cost aspect. I'm a vivid paintballer. I used to play a lot and train almost every week with for a period of time with a speedball team. They're the Division 2 team, but at some point I couldn't keep affording all the sponsorships we had to buy into, and the trainings with the pros, and the training with whatever, and go to Belgium, go cross country, and go over the border to train in another country, and do these competitions. I just didn't foresee myself being able to afford all of that. So I made a decision to leave that team. Unfortunately, that didn't went without drama. That is what it is, unfortunately. And since then, I started to play recreational ball because I love to play paintball and I love playing competitively, and I love shooty games. So I started doing the rec ball for a while, and to be honest, after a while, it becomes boring. I'm not. I like playing in the forest and whatnot and having fun. But it's just something about it that it made it a bit boring. First and foremost is the cost aspect. So I was using my electronic marker and quickly needed to tone down the paint consumption, because a case of paint, 2,000 paintballs, cost roughly 45 to 50 US dollar in my country per case, and beside of the entry costs and whatnot. So it add up. So I started playing pump paintball, and I still do that to this date. And I went from one case of paint, 2,000 paintballs, to just a shy 500 paintballs for a whole day, just basically one bag of paintballs, which is like 1/4 of the cost. So hey, that's great. But there were some things about the whole scenario, the whole recreational paintball, that was kind of nagging on me, because I had to play eco because, well, my wallet dictates me to play eco. And because I'm playing pump and 99% of the other players who are using the electronic markers set to NXL ramping, they're shooting through a case of paint because, well, they don't have the they don't have the tendency to want to play every week, every weekend, or they just have more money to blast through. And to be fair, I can totally understand. I would do the same. So you not only have a disadvantage, which sometimes is really cool and awesome as a pump player, but there is also the occasional frustrations. And I was like, yeah, I miss the whole competitive element to it, and playing in a team and whatnot. So I'm looking around, and some of my friends were playing Airsoft in Holland, and I actually played Airsoft for a long time in Hong Kong, well over 11 years. I got bored with it after a few years playing every week, because there was no Speed QB, there was no Speed Soft back then. It was just mostly Milsim-esque Airsoft, and the indoor CQB airsoft. Basically everybody was using green gas canisters to fill up the magazines. So there was no HPA, there were no, in general, no souped up replicas that shot super fast and whatnot. But it became boring. And what I did like was the indoor CQB elements, not so much the outdoor airsoft stuff, because then I much more prefer playing paintball, because it's, to my opinion, more fun. Also, the culture of paintballers is more relaxed, more fun, in my opinion, than when everything is so strict and Milsim-esque with airsoft. Anyway, I started playing airsoft since recently in Holland, and this is my pistol that I use. I already showed that. It's for my HPA setup, and it shoots amazing. It shoots without any issues. It just does what it needs to do. It's super easy in maintenance. It's super easy in use. You don't really notice the backpack or the line. Yeah, sometimes it snags a bit when I move from hands, but It's okay. What I do notice the most is how much fun indoor CQB is. Totally forgot about it. I did it so many times, but it just, I don't know, it just faded out of my memory a bit. It's very intense. Indoor CQB, especially at the field I played at Delta Airsoft, which is an old school, basically 200 meters in total size, and it's a corridor to corridor fight situation. So most encounters you have are on a distance of maximum 2 meters from each other, which makes it super intense. And because of the short distances, you're constantly in the fight. You're constantly having to battle somebody around the next corner. And it's a really, really good practice environment for snap shooting, because I noticed that I can actually out snap shoot people shooting at me with lanes and tracer BBs. It's actually kind of like paintball. I thought the airsoft BBs go way too fast for me to trace, because used to be tracer units used to be only exclusively, I think the only tracer BB, no, the only tracer we had in Hong Kong back in the day was the one from Tokyo Marui, and it was expensive, and especially the BB tracer BBs were really expensive. So nobody actually that I know of was actually actively using tracer BBs at all, even indoor. So it makes tracing the BBs really hard, but now they glow up, makes it a lot easier for me to anticipate and move out of streams of fire. It's absolutely fantastic. The few that I'm playing at, they have unlimited lives, so you just keep respawning. If you die, just go back in the action, go shoot again, try to snap out people, and just repeat, repeat, repeat. And I know there is no real incentive there besides just destroying each other. Sometimes they have an objective where you have to defuse a bomb or something like that. But for me, it's more of being right in the action, being focused on my movements and enhancing my snapshot skill sets and whatnot, and just keep practicing it in general. And it's very intensive. It's super, super intensive, ridiculous and intensive. And all of that, the biggest benefit is the cost aspect. The whole reason why I'm moving mainly from paintball to airsoft is the cost aspect. So starting from the 1st of April, and that's not a joke, that's the actual truth at that field, is they're gonna charge me €10 a month, and I can play every Wednesday and Thursday evening, and I don't have to pay any entry fee. So basically, what's my intent for now is, because, well, the family situation allows me, that I go play every Wednesday evening. It costs me €2.50 each time, and of course some gas. Let's say it costs me like 10-12 euro gas, and a little bit of BBs, and that's it. I shoot not more than 500-600 BBs per time, per event or skirm evening, CQB evening. So a 2000 BB bag lasts me, I don't know, at least 3-4 games. So again, that's like $15, €15, divided by 4. Let's say it's €5 each time I go play. So for less than €20 for every Wednesday, I will be having fun for a couple of hours. And that is just amazing. No matter what the weather outside is, I can play every Wednesday because it's indoor. So that's ideal as well. With paintball, the drawback is not only the cost, but also most fields only are open on the Sundays. So if you want to play paintball, you first of all have to search through all the fields that are available in my country, and then see which one has a walk-in day, and then drive. In most cases, I have to drive 1/2 hour, 150 km per trip, and a round trip like 300 km. So you can imagine the gas costs, especially since we have I believe the third most expensive gas cost in the world at the moment. It's extremely expensive. So I'm easily paying $70-80 for a day of paintball. And it has to be a specific field that's only available on the Sunday. Whereas with airsoft, it's truly amazing. Most indoor fields have 3 to 4 indoor CQB evenings. So they have every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday evenings, Saturdays, and Sundays, they have skirmish. And I mean, you don't have that with paintball, so you can play a lot more for a lot less money, and that is for me a really a big no-brainer. And the thrill I get from playing indoor CQB now with Airsoft is really really high. The adrenaline is super high. I'm super stoked for it, and funnily enough, I love playing paintball, especially speedball. But now I'm looking at the whole cost aspects, and I'm not really that focused anymore on want to win and grow in divisions and that stuff anymore. My motivation is not really there anymore, because in the end it's just you're doing it for fun anyway, and you're just gonna have to pay a lot of money to achieve that. um, so make me a bit more realistic in what my hobby entails and how far I want to go in that hobby. Playing speedsoft in Airsoft is fantastic. So I do want to grow further and do speed QB matches and whatnot. We'll have to see on that side of things, because there's of course a cost aspect to it. But for now, it's just super 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 great for me. I really feel happy that I get back into the Airsoft, and since I can do it on a weekly basis, it's just fantastic. So if I have to skip a Saturday, or I have to skip a Sunday play day, let's say this weekend, I'm not completely bummed out that I couldn't play this weekend, because it's really an outlet for me that I really need to have. And it can be either Airsoft or paintball. But if there's a couple of times where you just can't play that weekend, you really feel like shit. At least I feel. And another really really nice benefit is, before I'm gonna finish this video, I don't know if it's the same in your country, but I have to book my events in advance. So if I want to play this on this airsoft field, I have to book in advance, pay in advance, and basically then I only have to take care about the gas cost and the BB cost, and that's all the financial picture that I still have to take care of. With paintball, because the nature of paintballs, they decay, and you basically always want to have the freshest case of paint possible, or bag of paint, to play with, because for accuracy purpose and whatnot. And the limited shelf time of paintballs, and the condition you have to shelf those paintballs at, like it cannot be in a well lit environment, it has to be a certain degree, it cannot be too hot, and also not too cold. So it has to be well protected, in a well suited environment, those paintballs, to keep them good for you. With most paintball fields, you cannot bring your own paintballs, so you have to buy whatever they sell there. And often it starts at 45 euros for the lowest grade of paintballs. And you have to basically, what I noticed is my biggest challenge is you have to have a whole chunk of money ready. So when you go to the paintball field, you first have your gas cost, drive all the way to the paintball field, then you have to pay the 45 euros for the case of paint, and then you have to pay the entry fees. So there's another, let's say, 55 bucks. With Airsoft, I book my events in advance. Now, what I said with Delta Airsoft, I pay 10 bucks a month. I don't have to care anything. I just show up on the Wednesdays, or maybe sometimes Thursdays, or a Saturday night evening skirm, all included in the 10 bucks. It's amazing. I don't know how they do it. I'm not gonna ask, because that's a super killer deal. But I just show up. I make sure I have some cash for the gas to tank up my car. Every 3-4 games, I buy a bag of BBs at 15 bucks. And with the BBs, they have an unlimited shelf time. So what I do is just buy a couple of these. I only have one at the moment, but I'm gonna buy a couple of these bags of BBs, and just have like 10,000, 15,000 BBs ready on the shelf for a whole entire year. So I don't even have to care about that, spending that money anymore. But unlike with paintballs, you always have to have 40-50 bucks ready in your hand whenever you go to the paintball field to actually pay for that. So you cannot have a whole, well, you could have a whole skid of paint at home, or a whole pallet full of paint, and buy in bulk, but most paintball fields don't allow you to bring your own paint. So it's not really helpful. And that's another benefit with airsoft, I feel, is like you pay stuff in advance, and then when you actually gonna play, you just have to take care of a small portion of the financial aspects, and then you're completely done. And that gives me a financial relaxation of and a mental state, because I know, like, oh, if I pay all that shit in advance, I'm good to go, I'm done. I just go show up and play. And I'm not into the whole modification of things. So as long things works, I will just keep playing with it, and if something breaks, I will upgrade it or fix it. Which is another cool stuff. Not much different with paintball guns, because most modern paintball guns you don't upgrade at all. You just replace whatever broken O-ring you have and just maintain it regularly, and that's it. Easy peasy as well. So that's really nice, and I think that's a really strong selling point to airsoft, which is known, of course, but to reiterate the benefits over the paintballs that decay over time and just have a certain amount of time that you're still good, and just the way you pay your stuff and in advance, so you can financially prepare yourself for a month in advance. Like, okay, I want to play 4 times airsoft next month, I'm gonna book my days already in advance, I'm gonna pay for those, and then I only have to care about getting enough BBs and having my car filled up with gas for those days, and that's it. I don't know, it sounds weird. It's a minuscule difference between the two, but financially, that's a huge impact for me in advantage of airsoft. Of course, paintball is still fantastic. It's still great. But yeah, airsoft is really attractive for me now. So I'm gonna end this video before I die from coughing. Let me know what you think about that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.